everybody. Welcome in tonight. Boy, I have a really cool show for us this evening. I have my friend Barry Littleton in the studio with me, and we're going to be talking about something that is very personal to Barry tonight. All right, so before we get started tonight, I would love for you guys to please go to my website, thecryptidhuntress.com. If you would like to follow along with all of my shows and kind of get updated on what I'm doing and what kind of shows are coming up and any kind of, like archives and all the events that I'm going to be at coming up this year. You guys, I have a lot of events coming up. Let me put that on the screen. We got something on the ticker down there. On April the 1st, I'm going to be speaking at the Georgia Bigfoot Conference. That's up in Dillard, Georgia. Okay. And my friend Matthew Delph's going to be there, and Robin McCrae will be there, and her husband. There's a bunch of Bigfooters from Georgia that are actually going to be up there. So y'all come join me. And then also I've got the Spaced Out Radio fan party. That's going to be in Las Vegas at the Golden Nugget, May the 19th through the 21st. So y'all come see me there. We're going to be broadcasting live from Las Vegas. And I get to interview people that I've never interviewed before. They're going to be there. Some of the top names in Bigfooting and UFOs and other stuff like Dogman. Okay. And then I'm going to go straight to Grafton, Illinois. We're going to have the Journey to Truth Conference. Barry Littleton and I will both be presenting there. And we might be talking about some of the stuff we talk about tonight at that conference. Who knows? Okay. So I hope you guys will join us there as well. Okay. Let's see. So, and also, if you guys would like to support what I do, please join my Patreon. It's the Cryptid Huntress over on Patreon. And of course, it's all my remote viewing data is listed there. I just uploaded it. Y'all, I haven't had a computer all day. So you can tell I'm on my cell phone tonight. I do have a laptop right down here in front of me. I've got way too much technology for my own good tonight down here. But yeah, I just posted that tonight, all my data. I have 3 separate targets that I did for this show tonight for what Barry asked me to remote view. Okay. And also you guys can visit my shop, War Woman Goods. That's on Etsy. It really helps out everything that I'm doing. Okay. Whoa. All right. Hey, everybody. Thank y'all, everybody in the chat. Thank y'all so much for being here. Hey, Robert, I see you. I see everybody. What's up, Bigfoot Michigan Rob? If y'all missed his show today, I was with Rob, Bigfoot Michigan Rob, today on his show. Okay. Well, let's get to our topic tonight. Okay. Since childhood, Barry Littleton has been visited by extraterrestrial beings of the higher vibration. After a lifetime of communication, he was given the name of the collective group of at least 7 types of extraterrestrial beings that he had been in communication with. And it was called the Extragalactic Interdimensional Cooperative Alliance. Barry tasked me with 2 targets, and I went in and I did one of them over like 3, I think it was 3 times. Okay. Just to get deeper and deeper into it. But these are some blind targets. I had no idea what they were. And so we're going to reveal the data tonight. And Barry is here with me. Let me pull him up. Barry is an amazing researcher, a very good friend of mine. And yeah, we're going to hear about this alliance tonight through Barry. And we're going to hear my data. So welcome to the show tonight, Mr. Barry Littleton. Hey, Barry.
Hey, I'll make sure I'm there. Hey, hello, Jessica. What's happening?
Hey,
oh,
hey.
wow. This one's different. This one I'm more stiff, a little more uptight and nervous about this one than I am any of the others we've done.
Yes.
And
well, this
honestly,
is personal, right?
Yeah. And the reason being, when I gave you this target, I also want to say hello to everybody in the chat and everybody, all the audience has been so kind to me. They've been commenting on my channel and doing really cool stuff. So thank you. What's up, Brown Dwarf, Lily Pond, everybody, Bigfoot Michigan. I was watching your show today. Thank you for the shout out. Appreciate that.
Oh, you got some mad shout outs today, Barry.
Yeah,
on that show.
I appreciate it. This is really cool. Thank you. Well, I'll tell you, the reason why I'm a little bit nervous about this one is because when I gave you this target, in my opinion, it's also it's a little bit selfish. Okay. And the reason I say this is because it pertains to me, and I don't want these shows to ever be about me. It's about the targets are always something else. But this is something that is so important that I think other people need to hear it because it's touched other people's lives, or they have these different types of communication that nobody's talking about, these different types of contact. So I didn't want this to seem like this was me going into ego. It's not about that. And also, I need no verification. I know what happened to me, but it verifies that this organization, this collective, this alliance exists, and that these contacts I've been having are real, and that there are other people too. Mine were physical, but they're also sometimes they could be like dream or energetic, but the ones I focus on are just the physical ones because I could touch things and actually see the beings. What is it like to really, no BS, be in the biofield of a non-human? What is it really like?
Wow.
You know, not like a lot of stuff we hear in the media and a lot of this other crap. So what we'll do is just go through some of this, and I'll say some of the things that happened to me. I've had experiences my whole life. They started as a kid. They went on till, you know, there was a break between about the age of 12 to about 16, 17. And then they kicked up again, what I call adult onset experiences. Other stuff happened to me during that time, but not like the physical encounters. And they started up again. They ramped up real hard in terms of I was missing time with 4 different experiences, missing over 4 hours of missing time each time. And 3 of these times, somebody else was with me. You know, they see these ships come up, they're feeling the beings or whatever happens, and they're missing time. You know, not the same as me, but still something else. And I think that says something concerning what I just saw Alexis Brooks and Barbara Eaton, I believe. Yeah, very nice lady. I spoke on a panel with her 2 years ago, just about a week before COVID at the Conscious Life Expo, and we talked a little. Her work helped me in terms of knowing I should go ahead and get a regression done. You know what I mean? Anyway, she had talked, they did a show about stopping people and people that are just stops. There might be 2 of you, you know, in the bed, and your mate, your husband, wife is just turned off while you're having this experience you're taking, and they're just like deactivated.
That happened to me, Barry, with my dogs. My dogs were that way, and my son. When I had an ET experience, both times, actually, I can say for sure one time, I remember looking around and wondering why my dogs weren't barking. They were completely knocked out, Barry. So it's not just humans, it's also pets. Interesting, right?
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. You know, it's interesting how all these phenomenon affect canines and animals. You know, we know one thing, somebody else that keeps dogs quiet too. Sasquatch. Anyway, sorry.
Yes, that's right.
Sorry, that's really not funny. People have had some horrible experiences with
that. There have
anyway,
been. Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, so go ahead. You were saying something. I think I interrupted you.
No, I was just talking about my dogs, and when I drew, you know, every time I have an experience with ETs or even Bigfoot, anything, I like to draw it. Okay, I like to make a drawing of it so that I can just remember it. I mean, but here's the thing: even if I don't have that drawing, it's etched into my brain, like my memory. Like I never forget any of it. I mean, I could draw them right now, exactly what happened, because I remember it just like that. But I do remember my dogs just being knocked out and that makes you question even more what's happening, because if my kid's over here and he's not awake, he's not waking up, I can't hardly move, and then my dogs are not moving. It's like, well, is this a dream? You know, is this sleep paralysis? What is going on when things like that happen?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and then there's the other thing, like, even though I had, you know, positive encounters, the thing is that they happen on a different vibration, physical or not. And it created this physical sickness that I've talked about before, temporal aphasia. But also, the further you get, physical or not, away from the event horizon, the more it starts fading and becoming distorted. That's the vibrational difference. You know, during my first encounter, I was like 17, 18 actually, and somebody was with me, and I was missing time, and I was on board this craft. I give you some pictures we'll show later. But, you know, afterwards, I can fully remember being there, and then before I can even get back to town and write it down and try to record it or something, it's starting to fade. And other individuals looking at me, other individual, we were just communicating about information we just had on this encounter. although they were different, there was stuff we got on board this craft. And we're talking about it. By the time we get back to town, we're looking at each other going, what the hell happened?
Yeah.
Oh no, did they wipe our minds? You know, and in all the things that the media saturates you with, which is the people who get their minds wiped. And then also we have virtual reality scenario technology that can make us see things that aren't real. So, you know, everything that you experience during a phenomenon of encounter, whether it be positive or abduction, leaves you questioning things. You know what I'm saying?
It does. Yeah. Well, it's all, I mean, and we're seeing things that aren't supposed to exist as well. And so that happens when there's a Bigfoot encounter, ETs, anything, any kind of cryptid or inhumanoid, whatever you want to call them.
Yes.
Yeah, it makes you question, but you have been having experiences going back to when you were a small child, like pretty young, probably about the same age as my son is right now. And so I think that you wanting me to RV this, to remote view it, I don't think that's selfish at all, Barry. And I think that it actually is it has implications for all of humanity, actually. And I gotta say, my remote viewing data lines up with something that's out of this world. Okay, something out of this world. And these, like I said, these are blind targets. And you're the one that chose the coordinates, and all you did was send me some numbers.
You know, let me interject real quick and tell you congratulations, and you did really well, because this is such a broad target, and such a broad target, or as you put in the data, such a vast target itself, considering what we're dealing with. You know, that I had a problem narrowing it. And eventually we got there, though. You know what I mean? But it was so what you were seeing, but you were on target from the beginning, and I really give you credit for that. So you did great.
Thank you. Well, I don't know what I never know what I'm going to get when you give me a target. I mean, it could be an otter man for all I know. Okay, so yeah, but I immediately, you know, I did a target to begin with, and it was so broad. I was kind of all over the place, okay, with that first one. And I didn't, we won't really discuss that because I was kind of off target, I believe. Yeah, I was all over the place. So you kind of condensed it, you kind of redid it. You redid the target for me, and you gave me the coordinates. And when I got into this target, I actually was immediately seeing a craft, a portal, stars. I felt like I was in outer space. Okay. I definitely felt like I was in outer space. And yeah, I was seeing a globe, the planets, or a planet, an abyss. I was encountering some sort of a cooling system and fans. But I got something about a melting pot. And so, you know, they say like the United States is a melting pot of all the different cultures and things like that. So I was seeing a melting pot, something that had a whole bunch of variety of things that were just kind of mixed together. Okay. And so that was actually part of my data. And I was also seeing waves. Okay. Waves, wave after wave. It was like wave after wave of stuff coming in.
Jessica, what color were the waves?
It was not like water waves. It was almost like frequency waves. Okay, so like waves of energy, kind of.
So,
it was more like that.
Energy only. Did you get any visual with it?
An individual?
Visual.
Oh, any visuals? No, I was hearing waves and I was seeing waves, but it was more like a frequency wave. If that makes sense. Now my sensory data was, I had busy moving round, brown and black, dotted, sparkling, and whirling, cold, furious, and curious. Okay. And I was seeing something that just kept spinning around and around and around. Something was spinning over and over and over again. And I think that's where my brain was trying to make sense of that. And so I was picking up on like a cooling system and fans. It was like a fan, but it also kind of looked like a portal too. Okay. But I was definitely picking up on something spinning. Yeah. And then I was seeing what looked like a sinkhole kind of. And then I was hearing like broken, something was downgraded, went down, sinking and going down. And then something on the surface level. vastness, just wide open. And then the words that I wrote down, because I picked up on a square and a cube, okay, and in a box of some sort. And I heard jump, loop, time, and purposeful. Okay, that was my first target, pretty much. I mean, there's more data there, but that was the gist of it. Okay, so that was that one. And when you got it, when I sent that to you, you're like, oh yeah, that sounds good. Look a little deeper into it. And so I did, but tell me a little bit about where your mind was when I gave you that data.
That you were seeing one of their craft. And I've been on 4 different craft that are associated with this alliance. And they've all had black boxes on them of some type or another. And, you know, size,
that's right.
when I was starting to say type, size or another. And I knew when you were describing one of these boxes, you were seeing that. And also when we start dealing with what might also be civilization, near suns, in space of solar systems, within Dyson spheres and spaces like that, I think we're dealing with these cubes too. You know, there's some types of some parts, even my experiences, that I need to go and get, you know, like regress more for, because there's some of it that, you know, that I've seen that come out as an aggression that I can't remember consciously. You know what I mean? I mean, it triggers there. Well, you know, it's like you are conscious when you're regressing, but it's different. It's like you're at the totality of yourself. And then when you come out, you emerge and you're back to normal alpha. You don't quite have access to these parts of your brain. It's a trip. I don't know why we're like that, you know, but everything we have is recorded in that way. Everything. And that's why this is so important, because when you have an experience, I'm talking to everybody. I know I've said this before on the show, so I don't want to sound too repetitious. But, you know, when you see one of these craft or something, especially the era before the drones, and you see something like that, and you've got other people that can't see it, they're quote unquote, like we just talked about, switched off, and you are seeing it. And you wouldn't think that, you know, if you're dealing in terms of Star Trek, you've got an entire federation, an entire collective of beings that are stopping everything to just collectively contact you. And that's exactly what's happening. You know, and in that way, so much happens on the superconscious level and the subconscious level when you're observing that craft, is communicating on that vibration, that you can only access it when you get down to the theta levels of consciousness, or even delta sometimes, you know. And that's something that I think is so much. I myself went for decades being against hypnosis. I became a hypnotist, took on workshops, did all the stuff just so I could try to get my own missing memories from these events. But before that, I went through going, oh, I'm Mr. Conscious Experiencer, because I could remember this. It's like being on a field trip. Don't you remember the field trips you went on as a kid? I mean, I could remember them, you know, but then they start getting foggy and you start doubting things. It's, you know, it puts another thing to it. But anyway, so I was against that. And because then I became a hypnotist, I could put other people under easy, take them deep, but I couldn't do it to myself. I had to go lay down, let somebody else, listen, you know what I'm saying? So don't let anybody, any institution, any person in these media tell you, if you've had experience, oh, don't explore it through hypnosis. Don't do that. Who are they to tell you that? To judge your experiences, your own consciousness. Heck with that, man. So, sorry. You know what I mean, though.
No, you know, even with my Bigfoot research team, we are pro hypnosis. Okay, actually, the head of one of my teams, the one who taught us remote viewing, is a hypnotist as well, and he does like a mind, body, spirit kind of thing when it comes. I mean, that's how he lives his life. Okay, I think it's important for us to get answers. Do hypnotic regression. I think, isn't that what you call it? Just do it, because you can really access your subconscious. And, you know, anything helps.
They record everything. You know, I know I'd mentioned, I think it was on your show last time, that I had done a past life regression. It was just about a week ago. And I do different types, but this one's called A Life Between Lives. And it always, a guide angelic will come automatically during this process. And then they'll take the client somewhere that I call is the place of translation and reconfiguration. And it can be anywhere. It could be an office, a library, a lake. You know, sometimes these guides have like a ledger. There'll be books there, and it's people's lives, specifically focusing on the life they just left. Okay.
Wow.
But this last one I did, the individual is on some type of a galactic ship.
Yeah.
And the guide is there, and they're putting them in this type of a crystalline chamber. The place of translation and reconfiguration is this type of a crystalline chamber that goes over all that soul life memory of that life and incorporates it into the soul, then gives it a place to go to incarnate in another universe or wherever. And every person I've dealt with, whether it be that situation or from wherever they are at this place of translation and reconfiguration, they have a choice of where they go to, where they incarnate to. I've experienced this several times now with clients. That is what it is. I don't make the rules. I just observe them. Okay. But anyway, point being, when this individual starts seeing this, and their guide is this type of on this galactic ship that's putting souls into universes. Okay. It's some type of a very large Sasquatch being with a militant, like a Federation type of golden outfit on. And then it manifests itself into like a golden ball of energy, and it's telling the client stuff. And I mean, it was really a trip, because I just did that show a couple of weeks ago with Pork and Beans, Brian Bland and Michael Harrell, who I used to call Mr. Sasquatch. That's the best with him. But anyway, but I mean, they kept talking about these types of ships that were higher vibration, have a type of Sasquatch that we weren't really accustomed with, that maybe was genetic, you know. Anyway, point being, this comes up, and this client is, look, they're a yoga person. They're not in the UFO thing. They're not in the Sasquatch thing. You know, although they might have had some experiences around the wilderness, but now we know why. Anyway, point being, the subconscious and superconscious records all this stuff, and it's very important. All right, and these things that people are saying, they don't know, or they haven't dealt with that, and the subconscious of people knows that. You go all the way back. People tell me what's like in the womb before they're born. Very aware. Well, that is retained. Anyway, point being, we're supposed to be talking about extraterrestrials here, so let's go back to that. I don't want to go into dead people again.
Well, I got to say, the fact that your clients are seeing Sasquatches turning into orbs, basically, that's something that I've experienced, seeing orbs and then hearing a big grunt out in the field. Okay, Nana Boss is in the chat. Hey, Marty. She was with me the last time that happened, actually, out in the field, seeing a orange glowing light flash through the tree line, and then a big growl, a grunt right in front of me. So yeah, interesting that someone would know that. I mean, it's in their subconscious, obviously, right?
Well, they always blow me away, because when they're going for the life before this one, when I take them to that, it's not always earthbound. They're somewhere else. They're another form. You know, I've had people describe to me what it's like before they even came into humanoid form ever. You know what I mean? What type of light they were, what the patterns were, where in we would call space they were, but it's dimensionally different. Really a trip.
Yeah. You know? Interesting. Amy, thank you so much for that super chat. You are the sweetest, man. Oh, so sweet. Thank you. Everybody's that support is greatly appreciated. Yeah. Well, Barry, how about we go ahead and do the same target that I got into a little bit deeper. Let's go ahead and really hit on this target. Even though after I did the first target that you gave me, I went to the second target. But then you had me go deeper into the first target. So let's re-examine the first target, because I did go deeper in this one. Okay. Now, in the second target, I was picking up on another vehicle. Okay, like a vehicle. Like, I'm not going to say a craft, but I was picking up on like the Black Knight satellite. Okay, a Black Knight and Black Knight satellite, some kind of satellite technology. I was getting freeform, treaty abductions, hidden agenda. I actually drew a picture of what looks like three aliens. Okay. If you guys want to access my data, go to my Patreon, okay? Because I did put this in there. I did draw what looked like three ETs on the paper. That was my sketch. Okay. And but I was getting circular, floating, black, amplified, tall, long, hidden, versatile, quiet, something that was really quiet. But I was getting something about a treaty. Okay. So I thought that was really interesting. And it had something to do with abductions and a hidden agenda. Okay.
You know, something maybe emphasized, because I asked you specifically, I said, are you getting from this target any type of a governmental thing or evil negative thing? And what was your response?
Treaty could have been governmental, yes. Now I didn't get, I mean, anytime there's abductions, anytime there's abductions, well, I was getting the overall energy. The overall energy was not negative, okay? It wasn't like negative, but yeah, I mean, anytime there's abductions, that's not good. Okay.
Remember what I told you? That they are not doing those. And then I think that ties into where you have this negative stuff going on with all these negative lower beings, especially the ones that they warned me against, the lower beings that can create virtual reality dreams, scenarios consciously to us. They don't even need technology. Okay, you get in the biofield of one of these beings, and they start projecting things at you that aren't real at all, whether it be the abduction scenario or anything else. That's a real problem. So I know that they've constantly warned me against lower vibrational beings. And none of my encounters have ever had any type of a sexual encounter to it, or one time, I guess we could call it a type of, it wasn't exactly experimenting, but it was different. It was a DNA awakening thing. Anyway, all this stuff is on my YouTube channel. On my YouTube channel, go to the playlist, my personal encounters. I've got tons of illustrations that I had done by Kasara. This one would be called the bio bed on there. And the bio bed was actually this thing these beings got me to lay down on. They had these wands that had these crystals with these fiber optics things coming out of it, and they're moving it around me. This is very odd. I was on this bed that had this light on it. And, you know, they said they put me in my mind. I'm asking, answering for you guys, saying we're awaking DNA quanta, other light quanta of your DNA. I was like, I am awake. They're like, not enough. You don't believe in yourself. This is coming through in my mind. You know what I mean? So I just went ahead and went through the procedure. They weren't even touching me with the wand. So.
Wow.
Anyway, sorry, I digress anyway from where we were at. But point being, I think it's just good to kind of clarify that. I wanted you to say that, and you switched it on me because you specifically had told me no. I said, I'm not feeling that with this target. Yes. and he went Jekyll and Hyde on me.
I'm confused as to which one you're talking about. Yeah. I feel like I've probably been abducted my whole life, but I'm not scared of it, and it's not negative. I know that sounds weird, but
you know, I can't comment on that. My contact experience have not been abductions. Mm-hmm. It's not like that. You know what I mean? And they were so interesting. And to me, I learned so much and got an elation from them, although they ruined my life, that I didn't want them to stop. You know what I mean?
Okay.
In that way. But by the same token, I wasn't able to prove anything either.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what one of the things that having you do this, it just shows things that are real and some that aren't. And we've got so many, I'm sorry, but I'm just going to throw this out there because y'all know it's true. You know it's true. We got so many damn charlatans in these communities that aren't having the experiences they're saying. They're not doing the stuff that they're saying they're doing. They can't do the stuff that they say they're doing. And I find that frustrating. I met a number of them. When I meet them in person, it's obvious they've got low energy, low vibration. They're not the people that, you know, that you're supposed to meet. Like that have that, what I want to be specifically say, Artron energy, ARTRON, not Archon, Artron. Okay. It's a word I actually stole from Doctor Who. But that's that energy that when you're around some of these beings that have this kundalini that they're giving to make energy for the craft, you know, life force also, and also using these black holes through there, they can do that without craft, okay? And the craft themselves are grown, as I've described on this show before, over a mako or a black hole. and that's why they're kind of displaced there. The engine is displaced. It irradiates some type of an energy, a high energy that gets, I think, irradiates ourselves. And when I get around somebody who's had that type of, been around the technology of these beings, I can sense it. And I commented before, I sensed it on you before I met you. That's why I wanted to meet you. You know what I mean? And I meet other people that are really known in this community. They have thousands following them. And you get around them, man, they ain't got that energy. Energy's weak. No, it is. I'm just being honest. And a couple of people really well known. You'll see me standing with them in videos. Several different people, you know what I mean, that are well known in this community. They're just not what they appear to be. So I'll just leave it there. So use discernment with me and Jessica too, but explore your own your own experiences. Especially, you know, it doesn't matter if you saw a UFO, and then what did you dream about that night or the next night?
My gosh.
Sometimes there's just a little time lag between what we see and, you know, the communication itself. So explore.
That's right. You know, and that's something that we have to deal with when we're out in the field doing our research with my teams, is that we may not feel like we had any activity in the field at night, but then we go and turn in for the night, we go to sleep, and then a lot of us will have really weird dreams. Okay, and it's almost like our subconscious is trying to compute whatever happened to us out in the field. A lot of times, it's trying to make sense of whatever's going on, or we just get more messages in our dreams. We've gotten a lot of data from our dreams being out in the field. So don't discount those dreams when you have weird dreams out in the field, or even at night. Anytime you have any kind of experience.
You know, I bet your stuff is so powerful that you're dealing with that. It probably, you have dreams even when you're back home days later.
Yes. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's why we don't stop researching when we leave the field. We're still at home having experiences in our dreams and in our homes even. So it's really awesome. We take it pretty seriously too, and we make note of everything. Yeah. Well, let's get back to the data. Okay, let's get back to the data, because I felt like I was being monitored and I was being watched while I was remote viewing this. And actually, in the second target I did, they were trying to block me out. Okay, something was trying to make me turn around and go away, but I didn't. I kept going. Okay, but I did feel as though I was being monitored and I was being watched while I was doing this. And it wasn't, and that could be a message like I was being monitored while I was remote viewing, or it could just be that this is what the target was, whatever it is monitoring and watching. Okay. But I was picking up monitors, gatekeepers, and watchers. Something about the end times, Barry, the end times. I was getting soulless. I was feeling indifferent. Okay. And when I say indifferent, I was feeling like I didn't have a whole lot of emotions. And so I felt like whatever I was remote viewing, I was inside that being, because I did pick up that there was a being there, like a person or something. But it was kind of like soulless. And by soulless, I don't mean evil. I just mean like it didn't have like a soul or something. And I was picking up on clones. Okay, so clones. And then I was also seeing nuclear plants and something that was nuclear. Okay, and then I started getting data that was portal, dimensions, Mandela effect, and time travel. Okay, so that was mostly my data right there. But yeah, I mean, it packed the punch there towards the end. I mean, nuclear plants, clones, portal travel, dimensions, Mandela effect, and time travel. And that goes with that first target. It's all the same target, but I just got a little deeper into it that second time. So,
you know, the first part of the target, why I had to narrow it, because one of it was focused on, like, for example, I had Encounter, and this is one of the beings you have a picture of, insectoid, and one of the few that gave me a name. All right, and it sounded in my mind like Yandar, but when I see it, it's got a Z on it, ZA, so I just spelled Zandar. But yes, and that, you know, actually, I have another picture. It's more the uniform it had on. He did not have a uniform like that, but that's what the being looked like, as far as, especially looked more like a grasshopper with these milky colored eyes with no antenna. So it was not a mantid. And this being was the size I was when I was 7 years old. Okay, it's a smaller being, but at first I thought it was a kid when it would come visit me. But it says say something on what these beings can do. because when he would come play with me briefly, he appeared to be a kid. He was doing something that projected himself to look more like a kid. Yeah, and I've got pictures of that too. He's got a hat on with like these kitty cats.
Yeah,
And, you know,
I saw that.
he showed it. So other people had saw him. My brother had seen him, but he didn't say, "Oh, there's a big insect guy." You know, it was a kid. It wasn't like that. So they do something that projects them to something that molds our perception that what we can accept. You know what I mean? But when I saw him on a craft, he did not look like that. But I knew it was the same individual. And at this point, he had on a different uniform now, like I said. But I felt ancient, old, and I knew that there was no child. But you know, it was just a different situation, but the same familiarity was there. So anyway, so that's something there. Just and that being there, okay. When I encountered this being when it was on this craft, and I called this experience on my YouTube channel the acid rain experience. I've talked about it several times, so I won't go into it. But what he is doing when he's answering my questions before I can formulate them telepathically in my mind, and I'm asking questions. The first thing is, okay, of course, is who the heck are you? Where are you from? What do you want? You know, I got to be careful. You feeling love coming off this being, and the whole environment isn't intimidating. It's something about it that nullifies fear, I think, to a little degree. But also, it's, you know, by the same token, what if it's deception? I got to be sure, you know? So anyway, he's telling me telepathically, before I can form this in my mind, go like 900 million billion light years out beyond the space-time continuum. And I didn't know what that meant. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's when he told me to go and focus on the third and fourth planets outside of Pluto, which didn't exist at that time, I thought. So I'm asking more questions. But that's now what we would call the trans-Neptunian objects, the other asteroid belt that's outside of Pluto. It hadn't been discovered yet, though. And I told you on the other show that those were he said those were jumping off bases for our solar system because they have problems with the density. And Earth specifically, the atmosphere is very dangerous because of the microwaves and the metals in the atmosphere. I call that the M&M effect. And I mentioned before, I don't want to repeat myself. I was talking about this on here. I can't remember. I've done these interviews lately, but we're breathing in these metals and things here that do cause acid rain and things that we take, you know, for granted to a certain degree, you know. Anyway, so that target, my whole point of saying this was when I started trying to research space and found out where I vibrated with, where he may have been talking about, I come to rest at this place that's called the Abell Supercluster. And the Abell Supercluster is way out there, okay? And I specifically was gravitated to Abell 2256. But anyway, that's where you've got so many galaxies are starting to collide out there. And now I know through talking to people like Dr. Rudy Shields, Xandar there was referring to another universe as well. He's from another universe. So they weren't telling you that exactly, but that's what they meant. I tried to say, oh, it's another galaxy. He'd say, no. He said, mathematically, it doesn't hold up what you're saying. He said, it's another universe. So I had to accept that. All right. And anyway, that's why I got very frustrated with the media and with these communities that deal with the same thing. Pleiadians, the Sirians, the Arcturians, sometimes the Andromedans, all these people in our local Milky Way close cluster. All right. Look at the James Webb Telescope. Look at the Hubble, man. There are trillions of galaxies out there, trillions. And to think that we have just a few that are coming here is not realistic. You've got thousands upon thousands of different species interacting with this planet, coming and going dimensionally, interdimensionally. You know, when I got that name, Jessica was 36 years old. I had just recovered from this accident, this near-death accident. I'm out walking, doing my 3 o'clock in the morning. I survived traumatic brain injury walk. And then I feel like I get blasted with this name. I was having these encounters and they would never give me a name. They're communicating with me, giving me information and stuff, but no name.
Yeah,
some
it
of the
took you a
beings
while to get
themselves
it.
don't have names, let alone the name of this collective. And then when I got that, you know, all I could do is stop walking and just throw my hands up and screw the telepathy. I just said it out loud. Are you kidding me? Is that the name I'm supposed to tell people? I'm going to get laughed out of from here to Kingdom Come. That's worse than the Galactic Federation. That's worse than the Ashtar Command. And all these corny names I hear. Not that those alliances don't exist, but I'm sorry, they sound new agey and corny to me. All right. And then I got corned out myself. But they're telling me they're hitting me back, no joke. And I'm getting emphasized on the cooperative aspect and how that goes from micro to macro. I know more what that means now. They mean also pico and these civilizations that, I just posted something on Facebook that was a picture of Martin Short and Dennis Quaid, Inner Space. Yeah, that, when you start dealing with civilizations that are so advanced that they start going smaller into the pico and into things we call Dyson sphere, where they're, a structure over their whole solar system and their sun, they're going to explore space, inner space like that.
Wow.
Whole other thing going on. And when we get in the one of them gets in our biofield, one of these ships that we can't even see, they can do things with our biofield in terms of our dream body, our energy body, and we may be having an experience with them. You're on a craft dealing with these beings, and the truth is they're miniaturized, but you wouldn't know it because the dream body and physical body does not conform to the parameters of this body. That's why so many people have these dream and astral experiences. I've been on craft where you've got a picture of, it's not, I didn't send you a picture of that, I'm sorry. But the craft that has this engine on it, and it's a brain, I think now, and I look up there and I see people up there. When I get up there, they're touching this light, but they're kind of phased out looking, and I mean, and they're not like me. I'm about to puke, especially when I got up there, because you want to go to one of these rooms levels, you're kind of just there. And all of a sudden, oh God, makes you want to throw up. And these people are to go in and touch this light, but they're kind of phased out. And guess what? They're not having this sickness that I am. It's not interfering with their experience. And I know that's why they're doing that like that. That medium ground we can meet them then is different. Anyway, sorry, you were trying to say something, but I get carried away. Too excited on this, hyped up.
Yeah. No, it's okay. I was thinking maybe we should show the audience tonight. I know the people listening on podcast can't see this, but and by the way, you guys can check out the Cryptid Huntress anywhere you can listen to your podcast, any podcast format. Let's show the audience the Extragalactic Interdimensional Cooperative Alliance. Okay, this is a nice group shot right here, right, Barry, of some of the beings that you have encountered.
Yeah. And by no means is that all of the alliance. It's beyond what I know and more beings than what I know, but those are the ones I've encountered. The front being I've encountered several times with the reverse brain, looks like brain coral. Okay, amphibious being, that is Mana. One to give me a name, Maana. All right, and stands about probably very tall, over 7. I know basketball players are taller than them. And I believe that is also androgynous between male and female, And, actually, honestly, since I came forward, I've probably gotten more responses on that being than almost any of the others.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I'll pull her up. Her, him, they. We'll pull they up.
Yeah. And, I wonder why some of these beings, one is why did they step forward when I was younger, and
maybe because you're more open to it.
They step back and then other beings step forward when I changed ages, you know what I mean? So I would wonder why, and even more to the point, what is that being's interest in Earth? Not just
That's
me,
a good
but
question.
Earth. And it comes to brain coral.
Yeah.
Brain coral, and I wake up one morning thinking about bleached coral. That's years ago. I didn't even know what the heck that was.
Wow.
And it led me to the Great Barrier Reef. And the one thing on Earth that resembles this being's head, this reverse brain, is what we call brain coral here on Earth.
It does look like
the coral is dying from the bleaching. And when looking at that, and what's happening with the bleaching and all that, especially when I was in Australia, in the hospital there was so much on TV about the bleaching. I learned even more. You know what I mean? Yeah. But anyway, that brings us to something that's called super coral. and supercoral is resistant to the bleaching effect. So
Okay.
that leaves me wondering, so this being Mana, some type of coral related to Earth, is this a type of coral from the past that became sentient and went galactic? Or is this a type of supercoral in the future that does this? Does it matter? Because these beings bend the space-time continuum, so all bets are off.
Time does not exist. Right. There's you and I both know from all this crazy stuff we cover, time is not an issue with these beings at all. Time doesn't exist except for us, to us. So very interesting, Barry.
That takes us into another faction of the Extragalactic Interdimensional Cooperative Alliance, doesn't it?
It does. Yes. How about the Nordic gentleman that you experienced? Yeah, let's talk about him.
I'll tell you. All right, I'll openly say something. All right, when I first came forward, I've said it before, I clowned a lot on the Nordics because I got tired of seeing all the beings represented as Fabio and Kevin Sorbo as Hercules and Christy Brinkley. They all looked like that. That was like your standard Pleiadian Bringers of the Dawn. All right, that's a burnout to all of us that are melanated contactees. I'm sorry, it just is. You don't see any beings that look like you, no experiencers that look like you. It sucks. Sorry, it just does. And for anybody to say these communities aren't totally segregated is out of their mind. It's changing now, but it wasn't that way at first. And I'm glad to see it starting to change. This being here, this individual. So I said these things before I realized how much they were a part of my experience too. And this gentleman, although he was kind of gray, I don't know Caucasian genetics. Maybe if he was younger, he would be blonde. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But anyway, named Alex, Alex. And he approached me in this store and gave me that rock. In fact, this rock brought it up here. It's right here. People got mad because I didn't show them the presentation they got on computer. This is like a river stone. But for reasons of a show I was watching when I was 7 years old called Under the Mountain, that was on Nickelodeon, that was out of New Zealand, that involved a guy from another galaxy that brought rocks like this to these twins, and they were fighting these other aliens named the Wilberforce. So it's just the stone looked like that, so I wanted it. And I was with the antique shop with my mom. My mom was a collector, and this guy comes forward and starts talking to me. You know, the first thing he says to me is, "Young man, do you think igneous rocks are metamorphic by nature?" I remember looking at him and saying, "Yeah, but it takes millions of years. It needs to be like Bill Bixby, Lou Ferrigno. It needs to be immediate." Metamorphosis. He's looking at me going, "Doesn't work like that." You know, he winds up giving me this rock, and then gives me this card and says, "I want you to join this. It's free." And you know what that wound up being was for the State Mineral and Gem Society for my state.
Wow.
You know, and when I left, he's walking out. He's going, "You know, that's a very special stone. You should put it under your pillow and dream with it."
Oh my gosh.
And you know, and I think, okay, whatever you say, buddy. And I just walked out. I took the card and walked out. I'm sitting in the car. My mom looked at me going, "Well, that white man sure was very taken with you." You know, and then it turns out, you know, a year within that time, I had seen my first UFO with my mother. And that man, I don't know if I sent you that picture. That man was on board that craft. And you know, I had to get older to put it together. I was in my 30s, and my mother was throwing out some of my old magazines. She called me to come over and pick up a box of my Omni magazines. And I was looking through there, and she was walking by, and I was like, one was the anti-gravity section in the middle of Omni magazine I liked, because it's all about abductions and UFOs and stuff. And she walks by and goes, "Oh, that looks like the ship you and I saw." And you know, I had forgotten it for a minute. And she's looking at me, "Oh, Mr. Star Trek, with your creepy memory, you can't remember that UFO we saw?" And you know, she had to trigger my memory on it. To the point I asked my brother, I said, "Maybe I didn't see it." And my brother started screaming, "Yeah, you saw it. Y'all talked me to death about it," you know, and it's, you know, but anyway, that only happens when dealing with these beings. I've got a good memory. And when dealing with these beings, that's the only time there can be this distorted memory thing. So it made me go back and get a regression for that specifically. Wasn't prepared for what came out of it. It wasn't negative. It just was a trip. Anyway, point being that gentleman was on board that craft.
Interesting. Well, here, let's go ahead and get go ahead.
Real quick, the craft that they were on looks like the one I sent you a picture of. Not the drawing, but the actual picture of a craft. It had windows on it. Most of the craft I've been right there. The other craft I've been on do not have windows because they're organic. And there's a screen that when I was in one of these rooms that looked like almost a holographic projector that was, you could see through it, but I'm pretty sure that they're historians. And I termed them something that I stole from Star Trek. I called them the Temporal Integrity Commission. I think they're like time officers and historians. I think they're monitoring the timelines, and I think they're also recording it. And they're in those ships. So I can't tell you every compartment in there were these Nordics. I think some were probably non-physicals and other types of historians from maybe other civilizations. I don't know. But food for thought, okay?
Yes, thank you. Diane, thank you so much for that super chat. That's so sweet of you. Yes. Okay, so I figured let's go ahead and get to the last target here before it gets too late tonight, because this is a very interesting one, Barry. And the first two targets we've discussed, those are of the same target. I just went deeper into the first one. But now we have a different target, okay? And so Barry, the first target was the actual Extragalactic Interdimensional Cooperative Alliance. Now, what exactly was the second target that you gave me?
Well, it was kind of just refining to the beings and the alliance itself.
Okay.
Just trying to narrowing it down a little bit was all that really was. It wasn't as wide as the first numbers I gave you were wide. It's in Abel and as in the alliance itself, you know what I mean? Which then that starts taking you into their technology and also taking us into the wormholes, the Makos, and how they exist there as well. We can talk about that too. So go ahead.
Absolutely. Okay, so immediately I picked up on some of my sensory data was black, curious, slender, minimal, and flying. Okay, there's more to it, but that was the gist. And I was getting jet black, a rover, moon, satellite, planet, a tall green. So I was seeing aliens, what I perceived as ETs. And they were peeking, I call them peekers. That's what, anything that peeks around like a tree or a wall or something. Peekers. But then I got like this about face and blocked out. Now, I was hearing that in my head. So it wasn't like I felt like I was being blocked out, but I was hearing blocked out. Okay. So they may have been trying to block me out from this target. That might have been what they were doing. And then I got limited information. Okay. Like I actually wrote down the phrase limited information. And then I was seeing reptilians, what I perceived as reptilians, like reptile looking in humanoids. A reptilian race, tributary turbulence. I started picking up on a craft and then a crash. Okay. A crashed craft. All right. And then I started remembering, okay, like I was remembering something about a total recollection. Like I started like, that was just part of my data. Like, I don't know what I was remembering. I was remembering a metallic craft, or maybe it was you, it was somebody whatever I was remote viewing, there was a remembrance of a metallic craft, which is interesting because you were just talking about that UFO with the windows on it. So a metallic craft, but I was seeing a crash site. Okay, something long and cylindrical. And then I heard Mona Lisa. Okay, Mona Lisa, extraterrestrial and off planet. Okay, so that's what I heard. And now for those of you who are watching who are into like the moon, and that's, I actually ended the target right there because I was like, oh God, I'm on the moon. I'm gonna get in trouble again. So, but Mona Lisa is allegedly like an ET that was in a downed craft on the backside of the moon in a crater. Okay. And so I figured that's where I was when I got this target. So
I don't believe it. I almost feel like that was a direct little poke at me. Not by you, I mean, but just by the forces that be. Because I have had great discussions especially the melanin dominant community, about the Black Mona Lisa that was supposed to be on that craft, was found crashed.
Yeah.
And the reason why I never believe it was real, okay? When that first came, before it came out, just when it first came out, I had seen a thing that is no longer on YouTube. There were these Caucasian gentlemen in like France completely setting that thing up. They're
Yeah, I
making
saw
the
that.
doll, they're putting it there, and I mean, I've never seen it again. Not that. I mean, they were making the whole thing, how they put it together, the fake consoles, and I mean, everything. They showed it. It was probably like 10 minutes long. And then it just disappeared. And then that thing become all of a sudden official, especially in the melanin dominant community. That is believed to be 100% true.
Well, I can tell you that I may or may not have remote viewed a crashed ship on the moon before, and it was very real. Okay.
Was it that one?
Maybe. Yeah, it's supposed to have been.
You're being enigmatic. What do you mean? Maybe.
Let's just say. I mean, I'm not able to get into details, but I have remote viewed something that was crashed on the moon before.
Oh, okay, Cal, the moon thing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I forgot.
Yeah.
I forgot. So,
it may or may not have been that.
Okay.
Yeah, and I can say it was millions of years old.
I'll eat crow. If that was real, it was real. I kind of thought it wasn't.
I can't say that video was real. I've seen that video. I can't say that was real. Okay, but I can say that there is something crashed on that backside.
There's something there.
Yeah.
Something there that's similar to that made that be hoaxed or whatever. I can accept that. You know, and that's fascinating to me because otherwise, the Mona Lisa, the other one, that was just a dreadful lady with no eyebrows, right?
Well, yeah, it's interesting how they put stuff out there. I don't think if that video was real, I don't know if that would see the light of day, you know, for the general public. But I don't know. I don't know anything anymore, Barry. I don't know, but I can't say that there is a crashed ship on the moon, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, something I want to say real quick too, also, all right, because we didn't get to this, but when you're picking up these wormholes and these black holes and these makos. This is dealing with a lot of these parts of this alliance are from other universes. Even a few of the beings you just showed in that on that collage are from other universes. And when dealing with this ship, okay, I'll give you a picture illustration of a craft that was a metal craft at first, and it zooms around the back of us, okay, and it starts morphing into these crystal patterns. All right, and what's called J.J. Hertog in the Keys of Enoch calls a tripyramidal Merkabah. I gave you pictures of both of those. What this thing was doing, it looks like this normal UFO type of thing, but then it starts morphing because it's about to go. What it's doing is doing a pattern of unfoldment to match its destination. It's about to go through one of these wormholes into another universe. Yeah, so that is that's something to take in. You know, I didn't understand what I was seeing at first and why I had to see it. It's one thing to talk about these principles, but to see something do that, it really threw me for a perceptual loop. Okay, but now I know what it was doing and why it was doing it. I've actually been on board a craft, not that one, but another craft where one of the rooms has got what you would call portals open and closing all around, about 12 of them or more. And it's making me very sick in there. Okay. And I've got a light being that jumps in front of me, jumps into one of these wormholes, and it comes out of another one in a millisecond. And I'm picking up, we're like fish out of water in your dimension, in your density, excuse me. That's what I kept picking up from
density. That. I like that.
And what this was a room on board a sentient organic craft, a space organism that can actually generate these wormholes in whatever way, these black holes, and then can choose the one that has the path of most coherency. That's heavy. You see, so in that way, even I was underestimated the amount of sentientness, the amounts of sentience that was on board these craft, that was within these craft, or their age too. You know, so that's something just I had to even get more of when I started dealing with people like Dr. Rudy Shields and others that aren't experiencers, contactees, or strictly scientists, quantum physicists, astrophysicists. I got something different, learned more about my experiences than I thought even. I had to expand my modalities to more. the universal context instead of just the galactic.
Now you're extragalactic, Barry. Extra. What is the difference between intergalactic and extragalactic?
Well, as far as intergalactic is dealing more with interdimensional, or intergalactic could even be this Milky
Our galaxy?
Way. Yeah, it could be. The different constellations, or just interdimensional. Same thing. Interdimensional, multidimensional. All these words.
Yeah, it's very interesting. But as soon as I saw, I perceived what I was looking at in that last target was on the moon. That I was actually seeing that crash ship on the moon is what I thought I was looking at, and so that's why I hopped out of that target quickly. Okay.
Question: You said you saw reptilians too. Now, I've never once encountered reptilians as a part of this alliance, but there's got to be, higher dimensional or not. Like, even when I heard about the Saurians that were once here weren't all negative. And, even Ray Hernandez's survey that I've showed before shows that all the reptilians are not what we're thinking. So what type of reptilians were you seeing? Were they reptilians? Were they Saurians? Or what do they look like?
I don't know the difference between a Saurian and anything. I have no idea, Barry. I think
the Saurians, the Dracos, this is my understanding, I could be wrong. The Dracos or Shatari, they look more like up-walking crocodiles and alligators.
Yeah, it was.
And
I don't know if I have a picture of one
Saurians look more dinosaur-like, kind of.
It looked okay. Actually, if you go to my show from last Wednesday of the subterranean reptilians, I was seeing something that looked similar to what's on my cover photo on my YouTube channel. My cover art for that show, it looked like that. So Draco, I guess you call it like a Draco reptilian or something. I kind of like that. I don't know. I don't know the difference between all the reptilians. I need to learn my reptilians.
Hey, what kind of feeling did you get from the reptilian? What kind of energy?
It was indifferent, just like with that last target that I did, just an indifferent. So it wasn't like, I got that when I was getting limited information. Okay. And Susie B, thank you for that super chat. You're so sweet. I appreciate it. And BMR too. I saw yours. Thank you so much. Yeah, that was when I did the about face and I was getting blocked out. Okay, I did an about face, was blocked out, limited information, and then the next bit of information I got was reptilian. Okay, reptilian race near a tributary, but there was turbulence and a crash site near a tributary. Okay, so and if I remember correctly, that crashed craft on the moon could have been near some sort of a tributary type thing. I don't know. It's in a crater. Okay, I do remember that it was near a crater, inside of a crater on the moon. So yeah, really interesting information here.
Keep sticking your head in that bear trap. Keep talking about that moon. Go ahead.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but
thank you, Rob.
Dealing with that, and also, so that's interesting. So these are all things that they're involved in, and I know that how much I don't know where it begins and ends. All right, because I've seen, I know there's so many different organizations here that other contactees are talking about. So the Alliance of Free Worlds and the Galactic Federation, all these different organizations. All right, and now that we see how big the cosmos is, trillions of galaxies, anything is possible,
That's right.
But I know that the government can't mess with the individuals I'm dealing with. I stay in their capital, all right, and there is a big Air Force base on the edge of my town, all right.
Wow.
And so it made me, when I was going through this, look deeply. Was I suffering from screen memories, virtual reality scenario technologies from the technology, or from the beings, or both? Were these screen memories? So I went deep, theta, delta, find out. You know what I mean? No.
You're remote viewing, huh?
Well, I just wanted to go deep and find out. I wanted to live no doubt had I been interfered with or messed with. But now, having clients and friends that are on the spectrum of contactees also that got interfered and harassed when they were children is a trip. It's quite common. And it's a way of shutting down people between that and this field of energy down here that really influences people with fear and negativity. And we're completely inundated with negative encounters to where when we have something happening, I described before how this happens through the Akashic records, which is really these Makos, these black holes. They're the hard drives in the universe. 2 shows we've talked about that.
Like Mel's hole. That's right, Mel's hole.
No, that's a Templar cylinder.
I'm wrong. I don't know.
Circulating light beams. It's more like circulating light beams. But it's still time technology. Great. That's great. Yeah.
How much time technology are we going to cover, though? It's like so many of these targets, like the Earth's weaponized portals, a lot of it just has to do with time technology and time manipulation. The Mandela effect. I mean, my goodness, I actually remote viewed a Mandela effect. It was all about time manipulation and jumping timelines. I think one of the more interesting, I mean, all of my shows are interesting, but I had a guest on Space Out Radio named Frank Jacob, and he has done a movie. He's a filmmaker. He did a movie called Tell of Two Timelines. This stuff, it will blow your mind. For the normal person who's not into this stuff, it's got to be weird, okay? But to us, it's becoming a part of everyday life, and noticing all of the slight differences in our world every day. It's like I'm jumping timelines every single day.
Well, something happened to me when I was a kid that made me obsessed with time technology and time science and time travelers. I encountered myself when I was there again, 7 years old, walking home one day. Yes. I encountered what I didn't know was myself at the time. What way I looked when I was 22. I encountered this individual, and I didn't get too close, and it took me all into this thing of time science and doppelgangers and really what that is and how much that is involved with the contact scenario, especially. And it's a trip. So always pay attention. And it's not even far out. The time technology in the private sector. The private sector is full of these organizations that are doing time technology, making time patents and things that Lewis Anderson was talking about, that he just seems to disappear and everybody try to discredit him. Oh, he's just a guy that makes websites. Boy, you listen to the time technology he was talking about, and he provided also a patent that they were trying to get for a time reactor. It's quite impressive. It's so I'll tell you what, it's using a quantum computer to actually power this magnetic rotating base. And then they create this bubble, and with all these antennas, then they have all these antennas down that actually fire lasers into the bubble to actually advance and retard the time bubble itself. That's something that they're actually working on, these quantum computers. And I have a follower who's been following me since nearly the beginning I come out, and he'll always come around. Maybe now they'll send me a message from like a different email, but they're really cool. They do stuff with security for what they said was Fortune 5 companies or something. And they asked me a very simple question.
Yeah.
They said, Barry, have you seen a quantum computer before? And I automatically thought, well, it must look like a really advanced laptop or something. But the truth is, no, I had not. And then they sent me a picture and I looked it up, and one from IBM. And that thing looks like the thing that runs the Doctor Who TARDIS in the middle that goes up and down, the time rotator.
These things are actually real. Yeah, the things that we see in the movies are real. Littleton, thank you for that super sticker. Thank you so much.
And so today, one of these quantum computers running these time reactors I just described to you, it's like, man, that's major problems. Everybody's worried about CERN, when CERN is just something that has been around a long time. I've told people before, how come no one talks about the Cosmotron? The Cosmotron has been around, was activated in the late 60s, and it is a cyclotron, like CERN. They just call them Hadron Colliders now.
Hadron Collider, that's right. And we have them all over. They're all over the world. There may or may not be one here.
Fermilab. Yeah, you've got all these different ones that are,
Oak Ridge, Tennessee, right? Susie B, thank you so much. I love you. You guys are so awesome. And oh my gosh,
nice. She's got a great energy. She's my friend on Facebook now. What's up, Susie?
Yes,
nice
of
person.
course. Yes, and also BMR. Oh my gosh, Bigfoot Michigan Rob, you are so sweet. Thank you.
Rob.
Yeah, Rob. And Steve C too. Steve, you bought some jewelry for me on War Woman Goods, and I appreciate you so much. Thank you for that super sticker too. These super
That's
chats,
really
y'all
nice.
are so sweet.
They got a great audience. I mean, they're very awake, aware. You know, and I gotta say, I'm probably going to do this, and if this is a good idea, I'm going to do one more video. If I'm going to make another video, but I'm going to put that out. And I've got like 14 videos on YouTube that are about Sasquatch. If you go to the playlist, but I've got like probably 10 on Patreon that are years old now. I was thinking about doing what David Pauletti's did, just releasing one a week. There's a few minutes each, but it's just I became a little obsessed with Sasquatch because they touched my life at that ranch. They did. And then they've interacted with me since then. There's something going on. So I obsessed just a bit, and I did a bunch of videos on them from all different aspects, and I'll probably release once a week or something. And just let people check them out.
Yeah, please release them, Barry. I say release them. Release the Kraken. It's time. Release the Kraken. You know, I've been told, Barry, and I know that you kind of scoffed at it a little bit because you were like, no, I've been hearing this since the 1980s. I've been told that there will be full disclosure in the next 5 years. How do you feel about that?
That is utter and complete BS. And I was being honest. Look, I'm coming to 100 because I have heard that since 1987 or 88. There's going to be disclosure in it was 88. There'll be disclosure. It didn't happen. And all these people were always making these predictions, and none of it ever happens.
Yeah, I mean, but hey, Barry, back then, our government was not shooting down UFOs back in the 1980s. And telling everybody, right?
Okay, first of all, through Project Loon, you showed that that's crap.
Project Loon.
That's a human project. You revealed that. All right, and then the other part of it is just that they're showing like the TikTok. Whoa, the TikTok UFO. That's disclosure. Man, come on, that's insulting.
It is. It's insulting to some of us.
They're never going to do that. They're never going to give disclosure. It happens right here through these circuits like this and through the new communication medium that is the internet and these things now. We got people in the group here. Everybody in here is some type of experiencer or something. It's no longer just let's keep our mouth shut because people say we're crazy. That's starting to phase out.
We're not the crazy ones anymore, Barry. I mean, I'm a little crazy, I guess. I don't know.
You're good. Your audience is good. I think it's wonderful. And I have a great appreciation for what you're doing and everybody in here for not bullying me out. First one, thank you. Yeah, so thank you. But seriously, and the stuff you're doing is important. I'm starting to get a lot of good feedback. People are realizing like the targets, and this isn't about me even, just the stuff you're doing is good work. And it's different. It's not cookie cutter. It's not standard. And that's what people need right now. Not more stuff about what is, because there's so much trauma in the abduction scenario, the experience scenario, that we don't hear this positive stuff or even the stuff that's not cookie cutter, the real meat stuff. And you're starting to really get to that. So that's cool. That's why I keep wanting to work with you and I enjoy it and enjoy your crowd too, because they have a nose for it too. At first, I thought they were just a Bigfoot crowd, and I was nervous. Oh gosh, I don't want to be part of that. But it's not like that at all,
No,
Bigfoot community is brutal. They're like brutal, like serial killers, aren't they?
Yes. Well, what's really cool about the remote viewing aspect of this? Like, first of all, I think that you and I make such a great team.
Well, thank you.
Oops, hold on. Let me cancel that. Okay. Yeah, we make such a great team doing all this. And it's not just my channel or your channel. I mean, we have Robert in here, Typical Skeptic Podcast. Okay, you guys, let me see if I can pull him up. Y'all go check out Robert's YouTube channel as well. BMR, Bigfoot Michigan Rob. I mean, there's Brown Dwarfs. Okay, there's a lot of people in my chat tonight that have amazing channels. Nana Boss, the Nana Boss Continuum. Y'all go to hers. There's just a whole lot of really amazing people putting amazing information out there. Please go subscribe to their channels. I think Robert's one of the hardest working people on YouTube. Seriously, you're putting out shows every day, Robert. And he and I are actually going to be collaborating soon on something that might have to do with Inner Earth. Okay, so we'll stay tuned for that one. But yeah, the cool thing about my channel and the shows that we do, Barry, are that you give me blind remote viewing targets. And I've been trained enough to be able to decipher what these coordinates are and locate these targets. And they're only a set of numbers, and I'm getting out information that you suspected or didn't know about. And so it's not like I have any idea what I'm looking at until I get the data. Okay. And I give it to you. So it does put a whole unconventional spin on the paranormal research or the research of whatever we're looking at. So I think it's different. I'm having fun. We haven't gotten in trouble too bad yet.
Well, I'll tell you, it's a big deal, and it's a good thing. It really is, and I can't express that enough. Definitely.
Yes.
Great group. I will say that.
Yes.
Definitely. Everybody's got so much information. Wonderful. I didn't look. You don't understand how many times I want to tell you, and I want to call this one off. I almost even up until a few hours ago when you said you were having computer problems, I was like, well, let's just call it off because I didn't want to do this target exactly. You know what I mean? I multiple times I want to call this one off and just get out of it because I was like, if people see me speak at the conference or whatever, I'll show most of my information then. And I've changed things now. I wasn't going to show those anymore, but people told me, no, show those pictures. So I'll try to incorporate that with the other stuff I want to talk about. But I wanted to call this one off and get cold feet. I was like, man, no, we won't do this target.
No, I made you do it. I'm glad we did it because we're connecting on a quantum level right now. And I want to give a shout out to Texas Front Porch and Spaced Out Radio. Of course, that's my channel, y'all. So thank everybody for joining us tonight. Oh, Steve, thank you. Steve, thank you for that super chat right there too. You guys are the best. And love you, love this.
Oh, thanks, Steve. That's nice. Thanks, man.
Yes. Thank you, Steve. That is so appreciated. Love. Yes. You follow me. You remember me as the Oracle of the South. That is so funny. Before I was the Cryptid Huntress, I was the Oracle of the South. Okay. So, in all of my shows, I was doing like tarot card readings on my channel, and that's all I did. It was before I was on Spaced Out Radio, and I rebranded. Okay, rebranding is always a good thing. Okay, there's nothing wrong with it. Because I was actually a Bigfoot researcher. I just didn't talk about it that much on my channel. So go figure. Yeah. But yeah, thank you. Love. Thank you for following me. Thank you for coming along with me on this ride. Thank you to everybody in the chat tonight. Bigfoot Michigan Rob said, I got stolen from KGRA. I did. Dave Scott did. He stole me from there. Where's that comment? Yeah. Oh, and people are really appreciating your pork and beans interview too, Barry. So y'all go check out pork and beans.
Oh, yeah. Thanks. That was really cool. It was different, but that Sasquatch thing with the Galactic Sasquatch and that blew me away. That the correlation between that and the client, it was just completely there, and that blew me away in terms of just synchronicities. Spirit will present things to me in threes all the time to make it like concrete. It is what it is.
Yeah. Rob did. You did take me out of KGRA. I actually interviewed Rob and Tex on KGRA, and you, Barry. You guys were all on KGRA. Into the Portal. That was my show. Y'all go check that out if you ever get a chance. That was a great show. That's where I got my start. Okay, was KGRA Digital Broadcasting. And yes, please go subscribe to Barry's YouTube channel. It's Barry Littleton on YouTube, and his Patreon is so worth it. Y'all please go subscribe to his Patreon. And
all these experiences, go to the playlist, my personal experiences, tons of them there, and I show all the illustrations I have in one way or another in one of those videos. So check those out because most of them won't come up if you don't go to the playlist, whatever the shadow banning algorithm is,
We're going to try to bust through this shadow banning stuff. I don't know. I keep getting, anytime I mention reptilians, I was wondering if Rob got that on his show today because I was talking about reptilians. I keep getting that Wikipedia thing on my videos. It says reptilians are not real. It's a myth. Anytime I talk about it, I get, and listen, y'all, we talk about some weird stuff. We talk about Bigfoot, Dogman, ghosts, portals, aliens, but why is it so weird? Why are you so worried
the
about
thing
that?
says. It says that they're not real.
It's reptilians. It says that reptilians are made up. They're myth. It's a myth. It literally says they're not real underneath all of my videos about reptilians.
You know, real quick, I know we're out of time, but real quick on that survey of rays, that was the question was, have you had encounters with reptilian? Like 2,000 people still answered it. I had to skip it, and a whole bunch of people skipped it because I did not have those experiences. But again, it said that, you know, the positive and negative, a lot of them were positive. The unknown was large, but because people were scared of the beings. And I may not have seen a bipedal crocodile in a craft, but I've talked to some people that have. And some of them were absolutely traumatized. You know, even the story that the whistleblower one-on-one told me about the picture of him and the 12-foot Graco with the wings, how that happened. One-on-one, just me and that cat. I was like, hey, that's supposed to be you, right? Tell me about it. And I'll tell you, I read micro expressions. So if it was a lie, the cat has been very well coached, because the micro expressions give a person away. They only exist a millisecond on the face, and his micro expressions were telling me that he's putting on a good show. You know, unless you're an actor or a politician, it's very hard to control the micro expressions. Anyway, sorry.
Micro expressions, micro portals, micro everything tonight. We're talking about micro and macros, micro galaxies. I don't know. I'm learning. Barry, I learn something new every show we do. You teach me every single show, and I think that our audience is learning too. I hope. And yeah, you guys pay no mind to those Wikipedia things. I don't know what the heck that's about, but it means we're over the target.
It's on YouTube. Val SWPA. It's on YouTube. Just Barry Littleton, and will come up if you search like for 2 hours and just type in my name. It'll come up eventually. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Well, I'm going to continue talking about reptilians and giants and Bigfoot and Dogman. That's what I do. I'm the Cryptid Huntress. We're hunting them down. We're not hurting them. We're just hunting them down. We're on the hunt. And this is a lot of fun. Barry, thank you for sharing your story with us tonight. Thank you for allowing me to remote view that. It means a lot to me.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for doing it. And what it does, it gives validity to the organization itself, and for people to maybe try to communicate with them, or whatever the case is, or they maybe having experiences with them. And was younger, they told me I would meet 16 people that were involved with them, like me, and they said, and it will grow a whole bunch. I think that's this time now, and I was told that that's been like 30 years ago. You know what I mean? So, have
you met the 16 yet?
Some of them, and they were overseas. I was told that they wouldn't be from my area. They were overseas people. Yeah, met a lot. Yeah. Maybe not 16, but pretty close. At least 10 or more, and I think more are emerging now. And somebody, I'm picking up somebody is responding to the mana beings, or maybe it's the three beings in the back, the throne beings that we didn't talk about. You said you saw three beings. I don't think it's the throne beings, but the throne beings on the illustration are quite interesting. A lot of people seem to respond to them also.
Wow, interesting.
The beings with the crystals in their chest.
Wow. Oh, Aaron's in the chat. Aaron, everybody, if you're in the Grafton, Illinois area, please go to the Journey to Truth conference in Grafton, Illinois. It's May the 22nd through the 25th. Barry and I will both be presenting there. And
I'm really honored to be a part of that.
Me too. I think I have a picture here. Y'all go see us. We're going to be presenting. Barry and I both present on Tuesday, actually. We're going to be presenting on, I believe it's, I'm presenting in the morning and Barry's doing it in the afternoon. So I'm going to be talking about remote viewing and cryptids. Barry, what are you going to be talking
about? Contact, also earthbound spirits, and probably just a little bit of everything. But I've got to incorporate earthbound spirits more, because I've done so much work with that now, and how much it ties into the contact phenomenon, and it's not the separate things that we think.
Awesome.
But like I said, what's up, Aaron? I'm glad to be a part of that. And what a lineup. Looking forward to seeing Tony Rodriguez again in person. Very cool guy.
Yes. Yeah,
Strange Land, thank you.
This is going to be a fantastic show. Sorry, everybody. I've been trying to like work a computer down in front of me, and I'm on my phone. I've got all sorts of stuff going on tonight, and I apologize if I look like I was distracted. It's just I got too much technology tonight. But yeah, this has been amazing. Thank you guys so much for your super chats and super super stickers and all that stuff. Thank y'all so much. So your support means the world to me. And Barry, thank you so much for allowing us to really look into this. I hope that we did the Extragalactic Interdimensional Cooperative Alliance justice tonight.
You did definitely. You know,
I hope we did.
Thank you for doing it. I appreciate it. And thank you to the crowd and everybody, and much energy and love.
Yes. All right. And everybody go, please subscribe to Barry's YouTube channel and his Patreon if you haven't already. Also, y'all join me this weekend. I'm going to be on Space Radio on Saturday and Sunday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. And that's going to be on the Space Radio YouTube channel. I've got Adam Davis from the International Dogman Project. He actually was one of the founders of the North American Dogman Project back in the day. He's going to be on my show this weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun. Okay. So everybody, thank you all so much again for everything. Barry, thank you for being here tonight. And I guess we'll see y'all next time out in these streets. Y'all please be safe. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the show tonight. I hope everybody learned something. Okay. All right, Barry. Thanks again. And we'll see y'all.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Yeah. Bye, y'all.